Welcome to the Dibley Diaries for this week. This week in Thought for the Day we're going to be thinking about a story which Jesus told about some people who thought that things were unfair. And when I was reflecting upon this for the Rural Challenge, I ended up thinking about the parish share and how often groups of people, church communities, complain about the fact that the parish share seems unfair. So for those of you who have no idea what the parish share is, in some places it's called the parish quota. It's the amount of money that each parish, each church community pays to the diocese in the Church of England to help pay for their priest, so that their vicar, the person who's looking after their churches, responsible for them, is paid and has somewhere to live, and it covers the training and the legal costs for someone if they have a salary, and if they are looked after by people who don't have a salary, then it's still the money goes towards supporting the legal things and the structures and the training for the people in that place. And it's a really difficult thing because it's hard to know how to share it out, and people are just everywhere I've been grumpy about it because there are about a million reasons, but because people are not sure they're getting their fair share of their vicar if they're paying for a paid vicar. They're not sure that they are getting what's required. They look at other people's payments. It's not the same from area to area, so from diocese to diocese the amount that each parish will pay will be different, and that is largely down to history, which is a too complicated thing to do as part of the Rural Challenge. But yes, people just think that the parish share is not very fair, and they argue about how one church community is paying more than the other. It's not usually adjusted to how much money people have to pay, so it may be that people get a lot of rental income into their church community, or they may get a lot of tourism income into their church community, or they may have a lot of historic funds in their church community, so that's a different thing. They may have more to begin with, but should they be paying more or should they not? It seems like some of you will be going, oh, that's so petty, but it's not. It's a very real problem for church communities who are, if they're in their own parish, they're legally responsible for their church funds. Church funds aren't huge on a parish level, and one example of a church I know who have about maybe 10 people when they have a Sunday service, and they only have one Sunday service a month, and they pay £500 a month in parish share. So the vicar's legally responsible for them and supports them inside those bigger networks. But some people see, well, we get one service a month, not always from the paid vicar either, and we pay £500 for that privilege, and for them that seems a lot of money. So just wanted to say a big challenge in a rural community is paying for the vicar, especially if you're sharing a vicar, just how much that actually costs for the church community, and how to make that seem both fair and equitable to people is a big challenge. Thought for the week this week is based on Matthew chapter 20 verses 1 to 16, and it's the parable of the workers in the vineyard. So what's happening is that Jesus is telling a story about a vineyard owner. He goes out early in the morning and finds some day labourers, and they come and work for him. He goes out later in the day, employs some more, and some more at lunchtime, and then some more in the afternoon. So by the end of the day there are people working for him that have worked for him for 4 different amounts of time. At the end of the day, when everybody's collecting their pay for the day, the people who have been working for the shortest amount of time come up and get their pay, and they get 1 coin, and that's fine. And then the people who've been working for longer come up and they get 1 coin, and everybody, however long they've worked, gets one coin. And the people grumble and they complain to the owner of the vineyard, and they go, why have you given everybody the same amount of pay? Why have you done that when different people have worked for different amounts of time? And the vineyard owner says to them, well, why are you complaining to me about my generosity? It's my money. I gave you a fair return for your pay. You agreed to work all day for that amount of money. I've given you that money. If I am generous to other people, it's not your business. It's not your business. And that really set me thinking about equality and equity. What does it mean to be equal or to be in a situation which is equitable? And there's a classic way to illustrate this, which is with the three different height people trying to look over the wall. So there's a tall person, a medium height person and a small person, all trying to see over the wall. So if you give them each 2 blocks, then the tall person is going to have a lovely view over the wall. The middle-sized person might be able to just see over the wall, but the short person still can't see over the wall at all. So it's an equal situation. They've all been given 2 blocks, but it's not a situation of equity because the small person still can't see over the wall. In fact, in order to help everybody see over the wall, the best thing is to give the tall person just 1 block. The medium-sized person has 2 blocks and the smallest person has 3 blocks. They can all see over the wall. It's not equal, but it is equitable. It's a situation of equity. And Jesus is saying that's what God is like in this parable that he's talking about. He's saying, well, God wants to be generous. And it's quite easy to be judgmental in a church setting where people think, well, I know that God has forgiven my sins, but they weren't very big sins anyway. And I'm not sure that I want God to be generous enough to forgive all those persons' sins, because I know there are a lot more sins than my sins, but God will give them that forgiveness because God is a generous God. So we cut away from that sort of judgmentalism, because God is going to make us all be able to see over the wall to heaven. And we need to think about that. That's what Jesus is saying. Jesus is saying God's generosity to another person is not your business. But in the end, we know that it will result in forgiveness for all, however large or small their sins, that they will all be able to be with God, because the generosity of God is not our control, it is God's control. The Dibley moment this week is being filmed on location, so I wanted to show you this. This is my nemesis. It's a key safe. It's a key safe which is too high for me to easily access. This one in particular, I can just about press the numbers, but I struggle really hard to get enough strength at the height above my head that it is, so that I can actually pull the clasp down inside it, the mechanism. I can't pull the catch down properly. So thinking about, equity and what it means for me, it would mean a great deal if this key safe was moved down about 30 centimetres, and then I would be able to access it really easily without the problems that I do at the moment. So yeah, on-site visit for the Dibley moment. I don't know how many key safes over the years I've had to ask people, can you actually move that down a bit so I can reach it safely without having to stand on anything. Well, that's it for the Dibley Diaries for this week. I pray that you and your village, however large or small, have a really blessed week where everyone can live together in equity.